Hello. This week's Coffee Talk. Welcome back. Pamela DeVrou, real estate, 20-something odd years. I don't know, I'm starting to lose count. I've been in it for a while, but if you've been following along, we are working our way towards investments. And today is kind of a meaty topic. I'm kind of excited about it because this is where I want to get into. Let's think a little differently and ask some smarter questions, right? Not just, do I sell my house? Do I keep my house? Am I moving or not moving? Or if you're looking at investment properties, what are we going to sell this for? What's the sales price? But there's a lot more questions in this. And there's different ways to invest. So we want to talk about some of that. We want to talk about how to choose the right property. We want to talk about what we're going to do with that property. So welcome back to Coffee Talk. Today we're going to talk, I'm going to read some of the notes that I've got. Should I flip it? That's a big one. Should I BRRRR, which is BRRRR. We're going to talk about what that stands for. Should I BRRRR it, hold it, sell it? Yep. So here's the thing. The answer is not the same for every opportunity or for every person. If I were buying something versus maybe you were buying something, the numbers may be the same, but what we do with it may vary because of our life circumstances and because of our experience, right? So we want to talk about some of that. The bigger idea here is, first of all, everybody wants to know, what can I sell this for? What can I sell this for? What am I going to make on it? Well, there's a lot of factors that have to be worked out for that. There's 4 main strategies, right? And I already kind of said them. Am I going to sell the house? So let's say you've got a house that you've inherited and that maybe you have brothers or sisters inherited with you. And some of them really, really want the money and some of them would love the money, but we don't necessarily have to sell right away. Someone is emotionally attached. We go through the scenarios. And what are you going to do with that property? A lot of times I see family members they're going to sell it. They're going to sell it as is and they're going to divvy it up. But that may not be the best use for the property. So we want to talk about what is the highest, this is a real estate term. I mean, I got tested on it way back when, and everyone that takes the real estate exam gets tested on this. What is the highest and best use? It's a zoning question. What is the highest and best use of this land, of this property, in your case, of this home? So with a house like that, a lot of times, my dog, of course, she's going to talk to us. Let's just show you my dog. A lot of times when families are looking at this, they're saying to themselves, well, we just want to get rid of it. I may be out of town, out of state, whatever. But a good real estate agent is going to help you determine and work through all of your avenues, all of your choices. So if you stick that thing on the market as is, more than likely an investor or a company is going to buy that thing. They're going to rehab it, and then they're going to do something with it, either then sell it, so they rehab it and sell it, make a huge profit, ideally, if they know what they're doing. And then, or they're going to buy it, fix it up just enough, and then rent that thing out and hold that thing for the next 10 years. Why? Because maybe that area is turning over. Maybe that area is growing like crazy. Maybe that area has a lot of elderly people that have been in those houses and those neighborhoods for a while, but now all new blood is coming in because it's only 10 minutes from the city. We've got some zip codes in Charlotte that are doing that. And if some of these families could just simply fix it up enough and hold that thing, boy, oh boy, that'd be beautiful. And if you've got a really good agent, a real estate agent can manage that home to either fix it up and sell it for the best and highest use, or they could fix it up enough and rent it out and manage the rental part of it, even if you're not in town. So there's lots to ask. So the first one is to sell. Do we just sell it as is, sell and get out of here and be done? Cash out. So do you need the money right away? Who do you want to manage the property? Is the market value strong? I mean, more than likely an investor is going to come in on that type of home. But if it's just your home, the answer may be bigger than you think. It may be bigger than you think. So usually when I'm talking to a seller, they automatically say, I got to sell my house. But that may not be the best thing to do. So let's go a little further. Option 2 may be to flip that house. Flipping has been pretty popular in the last few years, and it makes it difficult, like we talked about last week on the Coffee Talk. It can make it difficult for a seller because your home, a little dated, a little worn, and definitely lived in, is competing against the house down the street or around the corner that's actually been flipped, where a company buys it, makes it look stunning, takes some gorgeous pictures and videos of it, and sticks that thing back on the market. Now, your house is being compared to that house before anyone ever steps foot into the house, right? We talked about that last week. So maybe we need to flip your house. I don't know. How much equity do you have? Is there enough spread between what you owe and what you could sell that thing for? So let's say you've got a house that if you just did a little bit of painting and maybe spruced it up and staged it a little bit, boxed up your things, took care of the landscaping a little bit, you know, the normal sales stuff. What are you going to do with that? So let's say that house, if you do those things, could sell for $400,000. I'm just pulling numbers out. But if we rehab it a little bit, maybe pull that old dirty carpet out and replace it with some LVP, make it current, and paint the whole thing, make that color current, like with a Greek villa or something like that, which you can probably see some in my background here. That chair is Greek villa, that one right there, right there. So then we change out a couple of light fixtures and maybe update some of the appliances. Doesn't mean they have to be brand new, but we update them into stainless steel. Now, what is it worth? Let's say now you put in $10,000 into that thing or $5,000 in that thing, and now it's worth $520 or $425 or $435. Is it worth rehabbing some of the stuff and therefore getting a bigger turn on it so that your house, and it depends, right? If there's 4 or 5 flips around you and you're going to stick yours on the market, yours is going to be dated. It's going to show tired. Even if you put some new paint in there, it's going to show tired. So we want to look at what's going on around your house. We want to see what your comparables are and then make some decisions from there. So if you've got some equity and a little bit of time, and I don't mean a long time, a good team is going to come in there and do it pretty darn quick. So flip your own house. There's pros and cons to that, of course. Or maybe option 3, which option 3 is hold that thing. Hey, look, if you've got 5 or 6 flips around you, those investors, they know usually what they're doing. So if you've had in the last year, the price is going up and up and up, and a lot of investors coming in and buying out that area and flipping it back around, maybe you should hold it for another year. Maybe you should hold it for 2 more and sell it for maximum amount. Where's the market going? Where's the economy going? What's happening in that neighborhood? How far away is it from the city? Or is it within the zip code or the neighborhood that is highly sought after at this point? We have one area in Charlotte that really about 6 or 7 years ago started taking off. And there were some really smart people that decided to rent their houses as is. They didn't do much to them. The house wasn't valuable, but the lot was very valuable. And a lot of the houses around there were being bought, bulldozed, and then $1 million plus homes were being built. At the time, they were about 600,000 or 700,000. Those same homes are now 1.3, 1.4. Hold on. Gotta get the dog up here, of course. I know you guys are really patient about her. So they held those things and then finally decided to put them on the market. They just turned into a landlord for a little bit and decided, okay, now I'm going to put it on the market. The house was still dated, worn out, broken. Even the yard looked terrible, but the lot was very, very valuable. So that lot turned into from $150,000 to $500,000, and now a $2+ million home is built on that lot. Why? Because it was the right specs, it was the right topography, it was the right neighborhood, it was growing like crazy. And when you start seeing that trajectory, holding it was a smart thing to do. So did they make a ton of money renting it? No. They just basically paid for itself. And then when they went to sell it, they got maximum amount. So the third option is called a BRRRR. BRRRR. What does the BRRRR stand for? Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat it. So what the BRRRR does, a lot of sellers don't really know that they can do this with their own homes. You have a house, you have an asset, but you want to move, need to move, whatever. You're upsizing, downsizing, mid-sizing, you're either adding or taking away from your family, whatever. Maybe the smart thing to do is to fix it up just enough, rent that thing out because you can get a really good rent on that area, and you don't really owe that you don't really owe a ton on it. So then you rent it out, you get more than, not a ton more necessarily, but you get more than what your mortgage is. Now you want to cover your mortgage, your insurance, your like anything that you're owing per month. Plus you want to have a little bit of room in there. You want to be able to hold it and have your vacancy, your maintenance, your reserves, right? You want to have all of that at the ready and available, and the rent that you're getting is covering those numbers, right? So again, that is a numbers conversation, and a good agent that does investments is going to be able to walk you right through those. It's called it's a buy box that you just take from investment. We are going to talk about that next week, by the way. We're going to create the buy box for us. And yes, sellers themselves can create their own assets and become a investor with this. So when you're doing that, then a mortgage company, now I don't sell mortgage, I don't do mortgages, but a mortgage company is going to look at, the right one is going to look at that as an investment property that you already have. That is an asset that is producing money. It's covering itself. And you have the reserves to take care of it. So now, based on your income, you can go get another house. This is how you start building assets, even if you do it slowly. That's how you do it. So that's called a BRRRR. You buy, you repair or rehab, you rent it, you refinance it, and you repeat. Rinse and repeat. Just keep doing it. You go live in the new house for a couple of years, do it again. So how you buy matters, but that's a different video. How you buy matters. So the same property can have different answers, okay? The same property can have different answers because it could be that you don't want to be managing a rental. You don't want to be managing a rental. However, if you hire the management company, who is a management company? A real estate agent that understands the numbers and investments and handles that monthly, or is connected to agents that all they do is management, then the agent takes care of that part and you don't have to touch it. It's just an asset for you and you move on with your life. No different than kind of selling it. So why wouldn't you have an asset? If your mortgage and your interest rates and your equity, when the numbers make sense, it makes sense to hold that thing, create an asset, and move to the next house. So there's questions that you got to ask before you're choosing. What is your property worth? What could it be worth after improvements? What improvements are actually needed? Like, there's a whole list, right? I'm going to have them written out within the actual blog coffee talk article on my website, PamelaDeVrou.com. But what reserves are needed? What's your timeline? What kind of risk are you willing to involve yourself with? So you never, never, never want to be up to here with everything. You got to have margin. That's just good stewardship, right? I've talked a lot about good stewardship, and we're to be good stewards of our finances, of our time, of our energy, of our relationships and resources, and having the conversations about what it would look like for you financially that's being a good steward. You gather all your information and then you make an informed decision. What's best for you, your family, your situation, your life experience, what your income is, and what the goals are, right? There's just more than one way to do it. Do you need cash up front? You need income later, long-term asset growth? Like, what's the goals? What happens if the market shifts? Then what? That's happening right now. It's shifting a lot right now. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. And so what's starting to happen? Stewardship, being a good steward does not always mean holding everything. It does not always mean selling everything either. It means slowing down long enough to ask the right questions, to get fully and completely informed, and then making a decision. What's best for the whole situation, not just quick decision. So I've given you some examples. So I've had some people want to jump into investments. I had a new investor. She jumped in, she bought one, and then she bought a second one. And I, as an agent, she wasn't hiring me to manage anything like the rehab or the fix or the contractors. She was like, I got this. She ended up selling both of them, going into major debt and jumping out, was very upset and angry. Well, you've got to go slow with them in the sense of you have to be well informed in what you're doing. Every time I get on the phone, then she starts whining. I'm so sorry. I've also had situations where keeping the property looked really good on paper, but where they were in life, it just didn't make sense, right? It didn't make sense at all. So have the conversations, get completely informed, be a good steward, and move into making the decision after all of that. I'm so sorry. Come here. So I'm going to close this out. This week's field guide is going to have worksheets and have everything kind of in more detail for you to know what questions those are. So if you're looking for a property, whether you should flip it, BRRRR, hold, or sell, then we got to run the numbers, right? Run the numbers, understand your options, ask the right questions, get completely informed, and then make the decision. Because why? We're good stewards of our time, energy, money, resources, and our assets. It's very important for you and for your future. So real estate just isn't about a transaction. It's about building and having stewarding assets wisely. I am Pamela DeVrou. I am a real estate agent consultant. I work with a lot of investors, a lot of sellers going into investing, because I really, really promote that. And check out PamelaDeVrou.com. We've got lots and lots of free stuff. And underneath this video, you'll see that you can subscribe to Pamela DeVrou YouTube channel. You can also grab some of the links down below and get some freebies from me, including this week's field guide. All right, I'm signing out. Bye for now. Bye.